Okay, so, and again, Caden, I know that you heard this last time, but just for Richard and Chris, you have all traveled to the city of Bard's Gate. Bard's Gate is in a place south of the borderlands with the far north, a place sometimes called Midlothian. The journey here through the winter was hard. It took several weeks of travel. You were part of a larger group, some people that you had rescued and brought to Zelkor's Ferry are from Bard's Gate. And so you began an overland journey through the mountainous regions near the far northeast. You traveled west inland to where there was this range of mountains. And harsh though it was, you had this large group of people, you prepared for the journey, you penetrated this mountain range, made it on the other side, and the climate you found to be different. I'll actually kind of do this again where you make it through this mountain range and there's this frozen river. You at first decide to follow the river. Along the way, you see in the snow-covered hills that there are these large stone towers. It's cold and snowing as you make your journey in the middle of Darkentide, the heart of winter, to Bard's Gate. But as you descend from the mountains back down into the hills and the foothills, it is not that bad. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It's survivable. And then finally, paralleling the river, you find a road, and you journey along this road until you come to an intersection and this place near the river where there's a wide place in the river with a huge island. And there, ages ago, someone built a huge bridge. And that huge bridge has served as the epicenter for a very large trading city that kind of connects the east and west parts of the Isles, south of the borderlands. And in this city, you have all been at Zelkor's Ferry now for the better part of at least a year. Zelkor's Ferry is essentially a frontier town, and there were no towns around for 100 miles within weeks of traveling. Finding something like a horse was a big deal in Zelkor's Ferry. These ferries would trade basic goods coming up and down the river. And you've lived that frontier life for a long time. And I don't know if Magnus is from a city or not, but Bard's Gate is, as the city goes...
Yeah, Magnus is from the Great Jewel.
Well, you have found...
Byzantium the Great.
That's right, yeah. Well, this is no Byzantium, but if there could be one here in this horrific, cold place, it would be this, at least this far to the north. It is definitely, although not Constantinople itself, it is a metropolis. And there are all kinds of different people here trading. And the riverways remain open with trade even in the heart of the winter to keep all of these people alive. And there are people from all over the world. You even find some people from the Far East, from where you're from. And there are people from Germany, from the Empire, from Frank, from all over, even from Northern Africa. I forgot the word again.
The Moors?
Well, they would be, but most people don't know them. Saracens. Yeah, Saracens. And even, and that actually, for people that haven't traveled the world, is quickly challenged in this place, as you find there are, in fact, different kinds of Saracens, and they're not all on the same team either. And there are all sorts of guilds, and everything is for sale here. Everything. Everything you could imagine that you could want to buy. There are taverns that have drinks that only that tavern serves that drink. And so coming from Constantinople, it's not home, but it's the closest thing to something like that you have seen in perhaps years. And you traveled here with several of the mercenaries, hedge knights, some might call them highway robbers, highwaymen. They go by, have different reputations depending on the people, but the Hounds of the Pine you have traveled here with. And they are working a job on the far east part of the city where many of the foreigners are. And that's where you are tonight.
Okay.
So,
What's on the docket this evening?
yeah, you're here at the Broken Camel Inn, where if you get nothing else, you will get free food and lodging. But two of the Hounds of the Pine are here with work. Gerald and Caden. I don't remember if Magnus has met them.
You broke up there for me for a minute.
Oh,
Likewise.
interesting.
Right after you mentioned that we were at the Broken Camel Inn.
Interesting. What about now? Am I back?
You're back. No,
Okay.
yeah, you were gone for about 4 seconds?
Oh my. Okay. Well,
And
let's
you're
see.
gone now, actually.
Huh. Uh-oh.
Still, I can hear you, but there's no movement.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're
yeah.
moving. Okay, we're
You're
back.
Maybe it's the giant electromagnetic storm or whatever that's destroying the planet tonight or whatever. Maybe that's
Oh, I
what,
didn't hear about that.
Is there one of those?
yeah, like apparently people in the far south can see the
Oh,
Aurora
right.
Borealis or something. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. Just let me know. Anyways, has Magnus met Gerald before? And Caden?
I don't think so.
Caden, yes. Well, no, actually, no. If this is 4 months earlier, then no.
Good point. Yeah, so you probably know them just from traveling here
Early.
in that large band with them.
Yeah.
But apart from that, yeah, you will have heard of them by reputation in Zelkor's Ferry, where they're adored as heroes. But in other places, they have different reputations. They're part of some group called the Hounds of the Pine. And if nothing else, you have here in the tavern, this place is called the Broken Camel Inn. It's part of the Outer Quarter, which is on the far east side of the city. A foreign person named Ios runs this inn, and there are foreign peoples here. They all leer at Gerald and kind of give him dirty looks. He doesn't seem to be popular here.
Are they going to be like that, are they?
Yeah, and anyways, Gerald and Caden have been given a job to investigate a case of missing girls, and this is where I hand it over to you all. What do you do? This is the night before, presumably, before you go out on your investigation.
Well, if I could I hear a bit about Magnus? I'm afraid I know nothing of
Oh,
him in or out
yeah.
of character.
Absolutely.
Magnus is a man who looks like he's in his early 50s, early to mid 50s. He's got about 4 inches worth of a salty beard, salt and pepper beard, and hair a bit mussed, tied in a convenient ponytail. And he always carries several pouches and things like that, and keeps an ink well and parchment handy, and is scribbling in a book and I'm doing things like that all the time, and uh, he's from the east, and is always is traveling in search of knowledge. Out of character, he's a second level magic user.
Cool. I am
Yes.
Gerald Faria. I am originally from France. That was some time ago. While on a journey, I have served as a man-at-arms for a noble of no great importance for some time. And in the wake of one of the great wars, which often racks my homeland, I went on a religious pilgrimage and had a vision which led me to come here and go north to Zelkor's Ferry and to quest against chaos in the region called Rapanathuk. And I, to my shock and pleasure, I did not die. So I have come here to spend some time in Bard's Gate to enjoy civilization for a time again in the company of the Hounds of the Pine, and have found new forms of chaos to quest against. And so here I am.
Well met.
Well met.
They seem not fond of your people around here.
Well, we do win all these wars and start so
Gerald, you can tell, in fact, that these people here are. This is one of the things that I failed to bookmark before the session, but they're a certain kind of people that they are Obodrite Germans. They are people of that live just south of, I guess we would call them Poles. And when they find out your name is Gerald, yeah, you're not very popular here.
they can cope.
The tavern owner in particular his name is Iris. There are other foreigners here as well.
Well, I'm sure none of us are super popular here in Bard's Gate. Being weird
Last time we were talking to a man named, I can't remember his name, but he was the father of one of the missing girls. So actually we went seeking him and we found his wife, who said he's been missing for several days. And then we were going to go scope out the area where the little girl disappeared when we were attacked by some kind of mercenary. Then there was a great struggle and we defeated the mercenary. And we were questioning him, but these women in heavy armor came up and captured him. And they tortured him to death in front of us. We managed to convince them that we were followers of the light. They called themselves the Women of Iron or something. That's what I remember at the last session.
A dire circumstance indeed.
They've invited us to speak with them at Maiden's Cross, but I don't know if we should involve them or not.
I don't know if we have a better lead, although I can understand your reluctance to involve them, as they sound like a lot. Whew. Sounds spicy.
Yes, not my favorite kind of people.
The only lead we have is that there might be a market where they are being sold.
That would be a level of evidence which I think even the current lawkeepers of this city might find it hard to turn a blind eye at.
We were going to attempt to infiltrate this market, but not sure where to start.
Well, I leave it to you, gentlemen. which seems like the best lead.
My inclination is usually to speak to people, even if they're deranged. Do we know where the market is?
I don't know. We don't.
It doesn't sound like we have a better. None of us. Look, I am borderline a paladin. You are a cleric of the light, and you are an. Well, I'm not sure what you are, but either whatever you are, none of us are in a good position to infiltrate a slave-selling ring. We simply aren't the type. But we might
Yes,
be able.
they were of the Slavers Guild or Slavers Cult or something.
Out of character, please approach it in whatever way is fun for you all. Like, you know, I'm not going to give you chaos points for, you know, doing something roguish for good purposes, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But that being said, whatever's fun for you all and however you want to do it, you know.
Thank you. Nice hat today, by the way.
Thanks.
Okay. So my inclination is to chat to the Women of Iron.
Order of Iron, yes, that's what it was.
What's your take?
Mine, I think we should probably talk to them, yes.
All right, 2 out of 3. Before we do that, I have to go to the restroom, but feel free to get started without me for a second. I'll be right back.
We will go to Maiden Cross.
What do you think, Magnus?
Well, as I say, I'm willing to follow these gentlemen's lead.
All right.
Just, if perhaps there might be some thug or something that I might hire to protect my person.
It's a good question. That's an interesting question. I think one of the problems with this place, a soft answer is probably not. One of the things you noticed about this place, and I don't know if Constantinople, circa 780 AD or 770 AD, was similar, but it's just before the invasion, right? It's like right before it fell. But
No. It still had centuries to go before that.
Oh, well. And then, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I'm thinking of something else. Okay. Anyways, this city is bound in a tight web of guild ownership. And in fact, it's a kind of a merchant city, sort of an oligarchy. They call themselves lairds, but they don't, and ladies, but they don't, but that's not really what they are. They're more like guild masters or burgomeisters. Like they're like, and nothing happens in this city without their authority. And there's this like web of bureaucracy that kind of chokes the whole city. It's something that you've noticed since you've come here. I'm actually looking it up right now. If you ask around out of character, you might be able to find a place to hire people. But the people in here, most of them are dock workers. And so if they actually operated and you paid for them as a free person and gave them money to act as a guard, they'd probably get dragged back somewhere and beaten up the next day for operating.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, every city has its way of operating. Well, in that case, I would like to ask around.
All right, you see a bunch of men here. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I suppose I'd most likely go to the innkeeper.
Oh, okay. The innkeeper, sure.
I'm also, just this is a side note, but I'm going to need a list of languages that I can possibly know in this world.
It's a good point. It's come up, but generally speaking, like, if you know, so there's common, which is low woldish, and then there's law, or the language of light, which is high woldish, and then there's thieves' cant, which is neutral, and then there's Drunic, or satanic symbols that represent chaotic. And apart from that, if you can speak low woldish, everyone will speak your language. There's not like people here that won't speak that.
Okay, well then by the intelligence score rules in Swords and Wizardry, I know every language that that I'm likely to come across.
And then beyond that, and the reason I mentioned that there's like the basic ones, that is to say common, neutral, law, and chaos, beyond that is there's all the esoteric monster languages. And that's, so you have, I'll have to look it up what I call it, but the language of the Fae, the Sylvan language. It's called Yinian. Yinian. You probably didn't know that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, with an intelligence of 15, I can know 4 additional languages.
Nice.
So, I mean, anyways, it answers it goes to the question of whether or not I've got the spell read languages memorized.
Yeah.
If I'm likely to be able to read most of the things I come across, then I wouldn't bother memorizing it.
You will not be handicapped by that tonight, and if you are, then please bring it up.
Nope, I'll just switch over to read magic instead.
Okay, yeah. Eos is a man with a big black and white beard and big bushy mustache, and he says, Magnus, so they added you to the Hounds of the Pine, is that right? Will you be staying with us this week?
I believe so.
Very well. You're welcome to stay here.
Oh, wonderful. I wonder, could you point me to where I might be able to hire perhaps a man-at-arms or something like that?
Yes. Well, to be honest with you, Magnus, it is not. It's not common for someone to walk around the city with bodyguards unless they are on guild business. The guild lairds have bodyguards, and they appoint bodyguards if you work for them. You can try to get work with a guild and join it officially, and that is one way that you can get bodyguards. Another thing that you could do if you're fabulously wealthy is you could go to the Merchants' Quarter, and that is somewhere where you can hire bodyguards. They have hunting guides for outside in the Lyre Valley, and the Sail Sword Tavern, there is a place where you can hire mercenaries. They're quite lucrative. It's quite expensive, though.
Yes, well, such is life.
Yes. Everything, they say nothing here moves without the wheelwright's wheels underneath it, is something they say. The guilds control everything here.
It's good to have order.
If you could call this order. I'm in 2 guilds, and I pay my taxes to the 2 guilds so that I can operate an inn and sell beer.
And do you have peace and order?
Most nights.
Well, compared to what I've seen outside the walls, seems anything would be a low price to pay.
Oh, perhaps you're right.
In any case, thank you for the hospitality and the information. I'll return to my fellows.
Absolutely. He offers you another drink because it's been paid for.
Well,
The
I
drinks
will-
here are better than what you had at Zelkor's Ferry. But you
Magnus
can.
hasn't actually ever been to Zelkor's Ferry yet. But yeah,
Well, not in gameplay, right? But you went there as far
I
as like.
came through the woods from the same direction that the refugees were coming from
Yeah, so
when I first ran into the party. So I don't know.
you stayed there as part of this, but it's not been a part of gameplay.
Okay.
I was trying to look real quick at how much a mercenary costs, but I don't know.
Well, if we end up deciding to go there, you can.
I think it would cost the amount of an adventuring mercenary and then be modified by your reaction. So that, in our experience, is about 30 gold pieces a session for an adventuring mercenary. So
Depends on what we think we're going to do, but I feel I just like to know where I need to go to get them. I'd like to know that I can go and get them. So anyway, okay. Sorry for wasting your time. I go back, return to the table. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. I just wanted to check into the hiring situation.
It's more competition for good work in this town than there is in Zelkor's Ferry. Harder to get people to trail us. Like, it's harder to get people who will serve as men-at-arms. It sounds like there are political implications to it as well.
That
Yes,
may
they seem to have issues with the church as well.
Yes, all very interesting. You'll forgive me, merely worried about my own skin, selfish as it may seem.
We'll do our best to keep you in good health.
Thank you. I'll do my best to help you as best I can.
all right. While you were gone, Caden was saying that perhaps the best bet is to go to the Sisters of the Maiden Cross. Although, do you know where that is?
Let's see, I remember it being across the bridge there.
I'll walk over to Ios again.
If you put up the map, I could ping it.
Yeah, I can do that. It's a player map. I'll pan the camera over to where you are now.
I think it was like right here.
Right, there's a compound there. Yeah.
Ah, there. I can only imagine how much money the Map Makers Guild makes in this town.
So it looks like there are two ways we could go. We could go south and cross that bridge, or north and cross that bridge.
And if that's where we need to be. Oh, if that's where we are. Well, let's go north.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best bet.
Okay.
We got attacked on the south bridge.
We got attacked.
Around the south bridge, yes. There was
And
the
that's where the mercenaries hit.
mercenary, yes.
All right. Is that the plan for tomorrow then? By the way, it is Nelag 7th of Grimhod. Or it will be tomorrow anyway.
It's still snowing, huh?
You know what? The snow will have abated, and I'll go ahead
Oh,
and
okay.
fix this up. By the way, it takes me a little bit longer. With this book, it's not nearly as well organized as Rappanothic, so I have scratched it up and bookmarked it and stuff, but sometimes it takes a little bit more. It takes a second for me to move things around. Let's see if I put that there and that there. There you go. the map doesn't show it, but everything is frosty and snow-covered when you awaken the next day at the Broken Camel Inn. But otherwise, it is a clear sky and a beautiful day outside. I will describe the area around you, though. This is something I'll kind of do each time. Let me see here.
Oh, I want to raise one thing briefly to make sure it doesn't take anyone by surprise. Gerald is, he's not carrying a sword or shield, but he does have a dagger, and he does have his armor on his person. Well, how is that, like, within the bounds of acceptability in the city?
You have what on you?
My chain armor and a dagger, but my shield and sword are and bow are elsewhere.
Right, yeah. We can assume those are kept at the tavern, if you want. That is to say that you can get them if you need them. And they will be safe. But yeah, walking around as a heavily armored knight would certainly draw suspicion.
Yeah, I probably can't walk around with my mace either.
You could probably do a mace, but if you're walking around
Well, yeah.
in armor, a mace, and shield, then people will ask you questions.
But, like, armor and dagger is, like, within the realm of possibility?
Yeah, no, I think that's okay. And armor and mace makes sense to me. You know, it's not like, I don't know. I feel like both of those things are pretty easy to conceal, and it makes sense as a personal weapon. I don't know. That's just me.
Yep.
One more roll, and then I'll describe where you're at to begin with. These are the things that are going on outside this morning. First of all, in the clear winter air, you smell two bad smells. The smells are primarily coming from this direction. It just smells like rotten animals or something. Or like also burned hair and flesh. And there's smoke arising from that direction. And also kind of mixed with like sour charred barbecue.
Which direction?
This direction right here. As you
I'm not seeing anything on the map.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Towards that area.
Oh, okay. I see.
Are they burning someone at the stake? Is that what this is? I bet that's what this is.
And
I
then
hope not.
someone rushes past on horseback. Okay, they rush past this way. Now you don't have to act yet, like, because I'm going to describe a few more things. On horseback, boom! They bolt past, and there is a bunch of cows that are being brought this way on the road. A bunch of cattle and steer, those woolly steers. They're being brought that way. Highland cows, whatever. And it spooks them. And they lose control of them. They start stampeding down the road that way as you step outside. It causes a ruckus to everybody nearby. And then I will also describe, you see... and Caden, I know you already know this, but directly across, when you kind of exit out the door and you see this happen, you smell this, you can see that this is a building. You can actually see the sign hanging in the wind, okay? It's the Feathered Herald, it says. And it shows engraved a feather, which appears to be like moving like as if it by wind. And that's what you see as soon as you walk outside. What do you do?
Wait for the ruckus to die down, I think. That's my vote.
Yeah, this seems like the sort of situation which will become worse, not better, if we try and force our way through it.
All right.
Yeah, we might want to check the valve after the kerfuffle.
Okay. Well, only takes a few moments for that to the kerfluffle, the ruckus to die down, as the people concerned.
Long as it's not a hullabaloo.
Right.
We gotta know our limits.
The cows run past, and the people concerned about the cows are chasing after them. So, and after a while, you see some good wives out, like, gossiping about what this must be, but otherwise, the streets return to normal activity, including beggars, which occupy the intersection, and implore you in the name of St. Muir to please help a poor soul. And anyways,
I'll hand out a copper to 5 beggars that I pass.
so 5 copper.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Saint Muir and the light bless you for your charity.
I'll decrement a couple copper too. From 4 to 2.
Oh, I'm saved. I can spend just a little bit of money now at the apothecary for my child. Praise Saint Muir.
Of course, Hayden will also donate the money to them.
Oh, this is the greatest day. In 3 days, I can actually eat today. A woman in rags cries out as she's given copper pennies.
In some ways, this town is stranger than Zelkor's Ferry.
I will ask one of them what that was about.
One of the beggars?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you mean the cattle?
Yes, that seemed unusual.
Oh, yes. Well, let me look at the 600, 700 page book. Here we go. Maybe. That was a group of cowboys. They were herding cattle down to the forest square. Give me just a moment. This is something in fact, I'm bookmarking this right now. Give me a second. This is one that I need. Okay, that's something. Let's see. Aha. Yes. That's Captain Rowan's lieutenant. He's not the brightest, torch in the basket, if you forgive me. Don't say that I said it. You also would have had to have moved up here, so I'll say that you moved that far, because they're at the intersection.
Yeah.
His name is Vaughan, and he's not very bright. I imagine they don't keep him on much longer, if you'll forgive me.
Well,
Oh,
good.
That's...
Well, thank you.
I wish him the best, so he doesn't end up a poor, begging, widowed spinster like myself.
He's unlikely to end up that way.
I suppose...
It would be a remarkable accomplishment.
I suppose that's true. Light bless you, they were driving cattle to the forest circle for slaughter and for leather working, and they lost the run of them, and they charged right out the forest gate.
Oh, I see. Thank you for your time.
Yes. Why, she's remarkably well informed.
Yeah,
She has
I suppose she...
you notice, like, how does she know all that? Like,
Well, she's got nothing better to do than to watch the...
Yeah, the beggars know stuff that nobody else does sometimes.
He's
All
got
right.
strong motivations to be.
So you want
Onwards.
to still go north?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
think so.
continue to our goal.
Yeah.
Okay. You travel a fraction of a mile up to the. This is why I was saying the city's that big. Up to the next major plaza near an intersection, and I'll just let's see here. A couple rolls.
You should listen to that fight we had last session. That was funny. Bara was tackling people, and I was trying to hit him with my mace.
Yeah, that's the thing about being a mage at the levels. Like, you're no good at fighting. We're level 1. None of us are good at fighting.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve here.
So, first of all, you see here a bridge leading. Caden, you would know that island is Turin's Well, which you all as well. Magnus may have not come by this way, but Caden and Gerald, you were guided by your strange guide, Bara the Hunchback. And so he pointed out Turin's Well along the way, the circle of gargoyles. And anyways, there's a bridge leading over to that island, and then this plaza, semicircular plaza. I want to note how large this is. This is, by the way, scaled to what the map says, 500 feet across. And in this large plaza, you can see a business for dog trainers and breeders, where you can purchase dogs, which you could take to the dungeon. You also have this building is marked. It says the Saints of Turlin's Well. And you can tell that there are various side buildings which are meant simply for gatherings. And then lastly, you can see from here that there are that's stupid.
That bad, huh?
I'm interested in this dog breeding place.
And the last thing that you see here, this is a business front, and it seems to show a castle with a part of the castle is missing, and that's on the sign. And it looks like it has a large office front. And anyways, the other thing is there are people traveling to and fro on business, and one of them is a man whose hat blows off in the wind, and he chases after it in the street. It seems to be a day to chase after things.
It really does. It do be winter, it do be windy. Is the hat blowing towards us or past us?
It blows this way.
I'm not running after it that far. Best of luck to him and his hat.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah.
Exert myself. I do want to look at the dog breeding, though. I want to go in there and you'll forgive the divergence or the diversion.
No, go.
That
Enjoy
would
the
be
dog.
nice. We could bring some back and start a breeding business back in Zocor Prairie.
I also want to pet the dogs.
That's actually not a bad idea. Yes. So,
The Hounds of the Pine gotta have some hounds.
indeed. And there are a few better personal bodyguards.
Okay. So you go in this building that is that's marked Cogra's Dogs, and there is a small person inside behind, and there are kennels everywhere, and the dogs just go nuts when you go in here, just like barking and yelling, losing their mind. And he's like, cut it out! Cut it out! What can I help you with? It smells in here too. It's a different smell. It's a different awful smell. You've encountered 3 awful smells so far. This one smells like dog excrement. Yeah, this one smells like dog excrement. He wipes something off of his hands onto an apron and approaches you. He's, let's see here. Fascinating. Yeah, okay. He has a strange angular appearance. Not only is he a small person, like a dwarf, but not like a fantasy dwarf, like a small person. But he also has a strange angular appearance with a long chin and a long pointy nose and pointy ears. And somewhat elderly, as far as you know for a small person. And yeah.
Well, my good man, I am interested in a dog or two.
Dogs we've got. That's what we sell here.
Tell me how it works.
You buy dogs.
And they're loyal?
Well, dogs are all very different. But dogs, it'd be... You'd have trouble finding anything more loyal than a dog.
Yeah, no, I have a look at the dogs. Like these are solid dogs. Like they could fight a guy.
Some of them are. I'm actually gonna need to bring up this reference, and I'll just skim over it to give you an idea of what you could get. But depending on how much money you pay, you could get a dog that could tear somebody apart and be a combat companion, or if you spend far less money, you could get a dog that's just good at alerting you, or a companion, or whatever. Let's see here. You have fighting dogs. Right off the bat, I'm going to make these way more expensive, though. Like, even in real life, there's no way these would be this cheap. I would say they're fighting dogs, I'm going to say, are around like 1,000. So, for example, a Rottweiler. You can get a Rottweiler. I mean, this is going to be way worse than having a mercenary, and it'll go anywhere with you, and it will go in the dungeon. And it's unlikely to run or flee, and it can do all kinds of tricks, but...
Oh, I can't afford 1,000. Good Lord.
Where's the gosh darn... oh, here it is.
That's like a third of the price of the church.
For some, well, this is an example. For some reason, a Rottweiler is less, so I'm going to make it 500 based on my math. You see a dog in here that has a black body with tan markings and stout legs and snout. It's a solid, 210. Well, maybe 180 pounds and how many inches by?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing would be...
That's 500?
Yeah, it would be horrific to face in combat. It's actually the lesser of what's available. There's also the... He points this out. He's like, if you have to have a loyal bodyguard, this is one way around it, and Bard's Gate is you can't put people to work without the guilds, but old Kagra owns the dogs here. And anyways, and he points out the Alant Butcher. This is a massive a bulldog, some call them. But you can see that the tiger-like stripes across it. Some say they're bred with demons. And this is also 500 gold. And then you have the, he points this out and he's like, now this one, there's no other companion like this. This is for war. I don't know if I would sell these, actually. Not without a permit from a guild. It's the Molossus. It's a, and this thing is just a height of the dog. Let me get it here. And then I'll describe it. 2d4. Let's see. So this one in particular, oh my gosh, and I maxed out the height of this monster too. 8 plus, it's a 25 inches tall, like a Great Dane. Very large dog, kind of like a Mastiff, but in a shade of black. It's a war dog. It's a 3 hit dice dog.
Good lord.
Yeah, and then the Rottweiler is doesn't say. I'm just gonna say that it's a, depending on the size, either a 1 hit dice plus number or a 2 hit dice. Probably 2 hit dice.
How many hit dice is the 500 gold piece version?
The Rottweiler, yeah, it would be like 2 hit dice.
Shall we get a male and a female? I'll get a male. Whatever.
Do you have the money for that?
I've got the money for one.
Oh, right, yeah, I don't.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll just get the one. And we'll hope to get the money for another.
There's
Do
actually
you have any money for that, Richard?
I'm afraid I only have like 15 gold pieces on me. I've got 200 gold pieces back at the lodge, but that is not here. I'm not in a position to finance speculative dog manufacturing.
We looted
Wow.
some gold from that mercenary, but not that much.
There's also hunting and guard dogs, greyhounds, what's called an Allant Gentile, deerhounds, wolfhounds, St. John's, poodles, something called a Helldogga, which is, what in the heck is that? Oh no, never mind. He doesn't show you that. Never mind, I didn't say anything. And they do a bunch of stuff. They gain experience. They can be trained over time to do better. They respond to your charisma score in terms of how well you can train them and work with them. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well, I'm not doing that.
I am.
All right. Which one do you want, a Rottweiler, an Allant Butcher, like a bulldog, or a hunting dog, or guard dog, or what do you want?
I want the one that will protect me the best.
Probably a Rottweiler.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. They're bred to guard and herd animals. Primarily a guard dog. I'll say it has. I may have to edit this later because I'm just glancing at it. Okay, but right off the bat, I'll say it has a basic D6 attack plus 2 and 2 hit dice. So, and you can roll the hit dice if you want. Now I may have to change it, but we'll start with that. It's got a bunch of other abilities too, but.
All right.
What'd you get?
Oh, I don't know. What are hit dice? What do I need to
Always
roll for
8.
hit dice?
A hit die is always 8. Yeah.
Somehow I lost my hit points on my character sheet.
Well,
Not sure what they were either.
man, I'm sorry. We'll figure it out, and we'll work with it if it becomes a thing. But I know I had that happen to me recently. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. 9 hit points.
It's reasonable.
Yep. I'm just gonna say it has a basic. No, it has a high armor class too. It'd be like 12 armor class. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, you have a dog now.
All right.
What's its name? He says as much. He says, what are you gonna name it?
Well, Magnus's companion could only be Rex.
Ah, King of Dogs, yes. Well, tell everybody that about Cagrag's dogs.
I certainly will.
All right.
Rex's job is to not leave my side.
Okay.
And if I have to go take like, a break at the edge of the campfire, then he's to guard my stuff.
All right.
And he growls.
Hopefully
he's not horrible, but
he's not perfectly under your thrall, but
that's fine.
But I will say, better than humans. Can't we all agree? I mean, let's be honest. Like for the most part, Okay.
All right, that was fun. I like animals. Never underestimate an animal. So proceeding onwards to, was it north where we're trying to go, or do we need to cut west at some point?
I believe we need to cut west cut west right about now. We want to head west.
Across that bridge.
Okay.
I will admit, I like the way the layout of this city is very artificial, but in a way which reminds me of like a dungeon, in that you've got these very specific nodes which we travel through. It's far more legible as a space to navigate than you'd expect a medieval city to be. But I think that's good here.
It's a good point, actually, that it is easier to manage and navigate and make decisions as a player and a game master. Yeah. Okay, so I'll describe what you see here again as you travel another fraction of a mile. There is a procession of a religious order. There are 8 religious people chanting in a procession, offering blessings and tossing holy waters and blessed oils and things at people, and flowers as they pass. They're just traveling toward the bridge along the plaza, and then there are people here doing business with various vendors and businesses. This is a different district. You're now in Turlin's Well. Oop, I need this now. Turlin's Well. 239.
Wait, no, we don't need to cross the bridge. We need to go south from here.
They're followers of the light.
You're not sure, but it's very unlikely that they would be anything else. This is a religiously homogenous country, for the most part. That being said, there is a minority of pagans which are not oppressed. They live in harmony in this fake pseudo-history. Let's see here.
Pagans would also not be oppressed at this point in British history.
Good point. Thank you. Well,
in fact, there might be a rather more equal number of them.
I think, well, there's not in this case. In this Arthurian pseudo-history, the new faith of the light that came into the Isles has taken over in the past 300 years, 400 years. And the other thing of note I will say is, in a world where like evil things can leak into reality when a druid does the wrong thing, I'm not saying the oppression is justified, but suspicion and concern might actually be a little bit warranted.
Yeah.
I would assume that the standards for druiding are slightly higher in a setting where the stakes are higher.
In cities, yeah. And so I have, which I won't get into, but I will just say there are like druid, what do you call them?
Guilds?
Yeah, they're called something. Not covens.
Circles.
Druidic circles, yeah, there are druidic circles here. And yes, they're more civilized in cities, yeah, and regulated. Anyways, one of the things that you see here, other than people doing business and passing by and this religious procession, which, yes, sorry to answer your question, Caden, there are followers of the light, but of what sect you don't know, is there's a business here that... and some of them you can actually see from the window. It sells coffins, and the sign hanging outside the business says box of bones. And this is a business of fine art, and they have like sculptures and paintings for sale. And around you, I'll just name out one more, but there's some weird stuff. There's oh, that's stupid.
That's the second time
I'm throwing it out. I'm gonna get something else.
It's funny.
You know
though.
what? We're just gonna lean into it for now. It's a place to get prosthetic limbs, called replacement arms.
Well,
And
you can get anything here.
yeah, and there's a place on the other side that's called the Old Axle, where you can get wheels for your carts. Anyways, that's what you see around here.
Nice.
You want to keep moving toward the compound?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I won't describe what's here because it's mostly just this compound. But I will make a check, as you have traveled another fraction of a mile. There's a man. I will say that you notice this. There's a table here, and there's a man selling curios, and there's a big orb on one side, and he's like, this tincture will cure your ills, blah 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 blah. And then, but a young person's like, what's that orb? And he's like, the orb's not for sale. And then he puts it underneath the table, and then he keeps trying to hawk these tinctures. And as you approach this building, it looks like a round tower, which Caden, you saw from a distance. This round tower, gypsum tiled cone-shaped roof, white marble bricked walls, and low half-circle steps approaching a silver gilded door, bearing the image of a kneeling armored woman, her sword pointing downward, held in both her hands. And you hear the sounds of joviality inside. Forgot to change the music
Really
back.
impressively. Yeah, am I correct in assuming that a tower with marble tiling and gypsum roof tiling is a pretty ostentatious display of wealth?
I would say that, yeah. But, you know, for a metropolis, this is it has to be some kind of business or something that's supported by one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know that
it's not
sounds
like-
obvious to say, but yeah, no one's house is made of that.
No, yeah, I get you.
Unless you're
Like,
a rich
it's not
person.
beyond the pale. It's not like they're saying, "Oh, this is a solid gold tower." Like that's scary wizard stuff. I'm just trying to figure out if is that a lot? Is that insane? But it sounds like it's a lot, but not an insane amount. Anyway, is that the location we need to go bother?
It is.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Seems like the kind of place one would want to be on their best behavior.
My behavior is always all of my behavior is at my best behavior.
Indeed, they're quite impressive women.
When you go inside, you find a tavern, actually.
Oh.
People in here
Oh.
drinking, enjoying themselves.
Best behavior indeed.
This is not a very good representation of this tavern. I need something better. I'm just going to switch you to the basic city thing because that does not portray what the tavern looks like. Instead, it looks like this. When you come in here, you see a common room. It's the floor plan is shaped like a cross, with a circular area where the arms meet at the center of it. And in the center of it, of the circular area where the cross parts meet, is a marble-topped bar with a red granite pillar rising from the center of the bar up to a stone capital that supports heavy rafters. From the rafters hang a multitude of lamps. At least one hangs over every table, and beyond reach of all save a tall, high person or someone standing on a chair. So, you've got the tables in there, and then from the rafters, a lantern hangs, but it hangs out of arm's reach.
Wow.
That's
quite the setup.
The rest of the room is taken up by a multitude of round tables and chairs, like I mentioned. Off to the left, the kind of left part of the cross, is a flight of stairs that leads up to a balcony, where you can hear a troupe of local female bards singing and playing music. Across the room is another door, and you can see barmaids pouring in and out, delivering trays of mugs and plates of steaming food to patrons. A third door to the right opens with the acceptance only of tavern personnel, which it says as much.
Anyone see the ladies we're looking for?
I thought this was the headquarters of their religious order. I think I might be very confused.
Yeah, Caden is a little confused as well.
One of the serving ladies comes up and says, "Can I help you, gentlemen?"
I hope so. We're looking for... What's the name of the person we're looking for?
What's the name? Holycroft?
Yes. We're looking for a Dom Holycroft. Is this where... Is this a place where she might be found?
Just a moment. And she disappears in the door that says that it's only for staff.
I'm a little scared, guys. This is getting wacky.
She comes back out with another serving maid and says, "You're here for a private dinner, eh? Well, if you'll just follow me, I'll lead you up to your private room."
Okay.
Okay.
Private room. Wait, why do we need a private room?
Discuss something in private.
So be it.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. She leads you to the left side up to where the performance is going on, drowning out any sound as the door is opened, leading further up, and you walk up some stairs as the sound of the music and everything kind of fades. Let's see here. Need to get a temple on here too. So we'll just stick with this for now. When you go up the stairs, it changes along this gypsum tower towards the top dramatically, instead becoming a shrine, and juxtaposed with the celebrations downstairs, very solemn. There are women here, some of them in habit, some of them still in barmaid's outfit, kneeling in prayer and contemplation. And the two barmaids whisper to you and say, "Dame Holycroft will be here with you in just a minute, please." And they leave.
Thank you.
What a fascinating business this is.
Best behavior indeed.
Were any of the patrons men?
What's that?
Did we notice if any of the patrons were men?
The The patrons, many of them were men, maybe most of them.
Oh, okay. But none of the workers are men.
None of the workers were men. I have to get a couple things here. Okay. Eventually, the door opens, and a woman, tall, with dark skin, and a French accent, which I won't try to replicate. Maybe we'll see. Let's see. Comes out. And she says, it was said of Saint Mirror that he could always see the truth. He could see whether someone was lying or telling the truth, and could even tell them truths that they themselves didn't know. He had a way of shining a light deeply into a person. This woman that comes out and says that she's wearing, she's tall and brawny, but she's wearing a habit. Well met again, Brother Caden. Who are your friends?
Oh, this is my friend Gerald, and this is Magnus.
Well met.
Yes, a pleasure. Quite an establishment.
She looks at you all, and then you notice that there are women standing around you now. What are your alignments?
Lawful.
Lawful.
Neutral.
No, that's fine.
They they just stand around, and they stand around you and watch you. And she just kind of like glares at Magnus somewhat, and then looks at Caden. Caden, for a moment you wonder if she notices that you don't have a shadow.
Yeah.
But she doesn't seem to say anything. And she says, welcome to the Holy Order of the Maiden's Cross, the servants, the true servants of Saint Mirror, founder of Bard's Gate, patron saint and defender of this city and of these lands in the Lyre Valley. We'll work with you. You have to swear to not reveal our secret, or we will know.
Of course, I would never.
I so swear. On my honor, on my honor before the light, as a fellow traveler before the light, and as a Frenchman.
Oh, you're from France as well.
Oh, are you also?
I won't speak French. I can't do it. I don't know why. Like...
But like,
I almost did.
They
no, I almost did.
Like,
why though?
French for like a second.
Yeah, exactly. They lapse into like a French for a second. I almost said oui, and I almost said some French crap, but like I don't know why.
Frankish.
Anyways, huh? Yeah.
Oui, merci
Frankish,
beaucoup.
yeah, exactly.
Good times.
Anyways, yes.
Yes, I so swear. No issue for me.
Good. Your word is enough. Now, How do we strike at the heart of this slaver's cult and bring it low?
Well, I've heard that they are selling girls at some black market. I don't know where this might be, though.
The black market it lies underneath. Follow me, and she brings you into a place where you can sit, and she pours you some wine. And she says, the black market lies underneath the city in the old undercity, but underneath the market district. The entrances into the black market are guarded by members of the Wheelwrights Guild, toughs and bouncers. Worst of all are all of the beggars, the dredges of the street. I hope they haven't fooled you.
I gave them 5 copper this morning.
Well, then
I'm
you're a
afraid
fool.
we
as
fooled
well.
a little bit.
They are no beggars.
Well, that's between them and God.
Wait, hang on a second. If there are no beggars, what happens to people who actually are in a position where they need to beg?
That is the right question.
I'm glad I can ask the right question, even if I don't have the right answers.
I'm not sure that you would like the answer.
I'm not
Yes.
sure how we can infiltrate this.
Let me guess, they're sold in the black market.
At best. And anyways, these beggars are an information network, a spy network. And they're in the pocket of our enemies of this place. I know that we have a reputation for being a bit zealous. But if you've spent enough time here and seen the shadows that we've seen.
My dog's barking. I'll be right back.
I thought you said that in character, and that would be interesting and cool also.
Yeah, I did too.
No, no.
Now you have 2 dogs. You got the real one and the flake one.
Yes. Just pardon me for just a second.
Alright. Anyways, she, it's the, they're all in Duloth's pocket. The beggars, I mean. The beggars.
Do you know of a woman named Marinath?
Marinath. The name rings a bell. No, why?
Well, she's been paying for us to stay in the inn. I'm not sure what her angle is. She told us about these missing girls.
You came into Bard's Gate and took anonymous money from a benefactor, and you don't know who she works for.
We don't know this town.
Well, something that you should know, Brother Caden, is that this town is full of groups of people that are all trying to devour one another so that they can become the next High Laird or Lady. Some pretend to support the arts,
I'm back.
and they claim that art is the direction of their life and the heart of the city, but they always have a motivation. They are pulling strings, and not to mention, often tearing down, if not simply abandoning or not providing the dues to the holy sites of this place. Others live in luxury and lord over all of the workers, the servants' guild, the beggars, and they stand atop a pile of dredges of the city and can drink the finest wines in the aisles and eat the finest food, and that is their life. And then there are those who are not even subtle in their evil and in their debauchery, and they enslave others, and even, Brother Caden, the foul arts of chaos are practiced here in the underbelly of this city. And
It makes the sign of the light.
That is our purpose here. The Sisters of the Maiden Cross exist here and run this tavern to invite in the sinful so that we can watch them.
Oh. That's interesting.
I assume all of this falls under the secrets which we must not reveal.
Yes.
Of course.
So it seems everyone in this city is being watched by someone else.
We cannot reap the rewards of being loved without the ordeal of being known.
That's what you should know
Well,
more than anything, is there's nothing you do in this city. There's not a coin you spend that does not get given from one person to another and make its way eventually to one of the guild lairds. Everything here is controlled and everyone is jockeying for power. Especially now, with the fall of Eastreach.
yes, we've heard about this, but we're not really sure what exactly happened.
The power of the old kingdom has faded now for a long time. Its baronies and petty states, feudal states, they war more with each other than they do invaders and true enemies of the true king. And well, Eastreach has waned in power for a long time. And the lord of that place is decadent and was unprepared when the Fornjotter raiders came. And it has been razed and burned to the ground and taken over by these raiders and barbarians. It's possible that in time he won't be able to stop the inevitable march of those raiders here on this place. And we'll be at war again like we were 20 years ago. And so Bard's Gate finds itself in a place it hasn't been for decades. It's an independent merchant republic. It could ally itself with the West Coast, but if the Lord of what's his name? I gotta look it up. Hold on, just a second. His name is... Meriadoc of Corgay. There we go. Who also is apparently French. I guess the that part of history is rapidly approaching. Anyways,
Meriadoc is not a French name.
no, Corgay. I thought would be. It's Corgay, not a. That sounds very French.
Sort of does sound French.
Yeah. Anyways, Lord Meriadoc of the province of Eastreach. If he does succeed and Bard's Gate allies itself with the west coast of Albion, then we will be at war, the two baronies. If we do not, we may not survive the coming onslaught of barbarians should he fail. If we help him, then these are things that this city is unprepared for. And whether you believe me or not, I'll tell you, Brother Caden, that there is a cult to the god of death here, among other cults. And they operate in the underbelly of the city, and they sow this chaos. They want to see it all burn. They delight in the murder of it all, of the mayhem. And if people,
I believe you.
If people can suffer, then, well, they'll enjoy that as well. So, We are known for being quite zealous in our approach to things. But I assure you that it is with reason, especially with the things I have seen.
I understand.
I believe you. We've seen such things as well. But as for these, this black market, I don't know how we could infiltrate it. Do you have any operatives down there?
We take one of them and send him in as one of our own.
Wait, elaborate on that. I'm not sure I understand.
There are methods by which a person's mind can be swayed,
I see.
bent to the will.
I see.
Surely, if done in a good cause, no one would complain.
It's unsettling, but I can't pretend
Yes.
that I can't pretend that bringing the sword out would be any more moral.
We could do such a thing to one of the wheelwright's guards. Maybe we could go
Why
down there
not?
ourselves.
Why not shoot higher than a guard?
Who do you propose?
I know little of the doings of this city, but as high as we can get, whatever that might be. Perhaps there's a tavern that some commander or other, or senior manager, or somebody who is known to frequent a certain part of the city a certain time of night. That kind of thing.
Member of the cult, perhaps.
Whoever can... I leave the choice of the personage up to further discussion, but I have within my means to do this thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I can only fall upon the wisdom of the Holy Order of the Maiden's Cross in this matter, if they know who, if anyone, might be a appropriate lever to apply pressure to.
I can do so more than once, by the way. I just need to have adequate preparation time.
I know what you would need to do. I warn you that this will be a dangerous undertaking, and it could mean that you gain powerful enemies in this city, but if you're here to stop this slavers cult, that may be inevitable. But I know exactly where you should go, and while I find it distasteful that you would connect with the other to be able to accomplish your ends, Sir Gerald is correct. It is better than what may be necessary. The sisters of the Maiden's Cross will, although we may not look like it right now, we are trained most of our lives for battle. And when the time comes, if you can alert us, we can bring justice to these streets. But the person that could get you in without fail to perhaps the actual slave, perhaps the actual auction for slaves, perhaps you could get to the auction itself, as if you could get at one of Duloth Armitage's very lieutenants.
Duloth Armitage.
That's a name that you won't want to speak too loosely in this city. He's the second most powerful man here.
He one of the lairds?
He is really the most powerful laird in the city. He is the laird of the Wheelwrights Guild. If you travel to the Guilds district and go to the Wheelwrights Guild Hall, and if you can simply find a way in, you could practice this magic of yours on one of his lieutenants. If you do that, you'll be able to be taken directly to the slave auction itself. and no one would even stop you.
That sounds like the course of action.
How might we learn his lieutenants?
Well, I know one of them. His private secretary is Zolotha. We've been watching her for some time.
Ilotha.
She specializes in purchases and acquisitions and esoteric things. She is probably the most likely to attend a slave auction.
What is her routine? How might we intersect her? And how... sorry. I need to remind myself of some names real fast. Not Caden.
Magnus?
Magnus, yes, thank you. You saved me bacon. Magnus, how overt is your ensorcelment? Like, how much discretion is required to perform it without it becoming widely known that you've done such a thing?
Perhaps a small distraction.
Hmm.
I merely need to be able to see the fellow, or lady, in question.
It left until dispelled. Wow.
Until dispelled. Well, that's the upshot. If anyone should catch wind or take a hint that this has happened, it could be dispelled quite easily. But still perhaps worth a try.
You'll need a cover for your cover. I hate to say, but that's simply how it works here. You need to find an illegal service and try to begin an illegal trade on the guild in the guild district. There are a few I could mention. You could take your pick, but you'll need to try to convince them of some item that you want to try to sell in the black market, or some illicit service that's worthy of the attention of Duloth Armitage himself.
Caden kind of looks at his mace like, I hope I don't have to put that up for auction or something.
Out of character, is that your magical mace?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually a really good... That's good to know that that's an option. Let's do everything we can to avoid it.
Yeah.
You have, of course, the groups of assassins, although those are... Well, I'm sorry, disregard that. That would not be there. We know of a blackmailer. These are the people we track, after all. So we're somewhat of an expert in this. Sleek John Wombat, they call him. He's in the guild district as well. There's also... let's see what else. There are drugs in the city. Although I don't know how that would relate to a mace, but unfortunately, drugs permeate all of the streets in the city, and almost every district. There's fences, which makes sense that you could talk to a fence and try to create a deal with them to approach Duloth Armitage. Try to make maybe a long range, propose a long-term business arrangement. It would start with this item, but could result in more. There's fences in the, what's it called? The docks. There's a fence there. There's, well,
Listen, what if we simply try to hire ourselves out?
We need to do so through the... Wouldn't we need to do so through the... under the coverage of a guild?
Yes, you would have to approach a guild. You could do that. You could go to one of the guilds or the groups and hire yourself out as what? Murderers? Assassins?
Dungeon delvers?
Yes, we do have the position of bringing back artifacts from Rapanopic.
Ah,
That's true. I had, at first I thought you were joking, but, offering to
Oh,
acquire a specific relic for,
This is-
like, from Rapanathuk.
yes. This is something that is well in line with the truth. Always helpful when trying to spin a yarn.
Hmm.
I
It
would
would be
suggest
consistent with
that
their reputation.
you'll want either a guild representative or an established merchant to act as your front. That's my suggestion.
Are you not a guild representative?
Not one that can be openly associated with us.
I can assure you that they will get the wrong idea if I show up at the guild hall.
Yes, I don't think we should associate with the overt of a servant of the light if they are selling
Now,
slaves.
I've heard of some place called a Sellswords Tavern. Perhaps we could go there.
that is an option. Also, another option is so you claim to dabble in the other. Is that right? You have strange books, I imagine. She looks at your side and sees if she can see the big spell book, the tome.
Yep.
Well, there are all sorts of people like that deal with those things in this city. Strange books, spells, divination. Although I have to be honest with you, I'm not sure they're taken seriously.
Well, what matters is whether they have guild representation.
There are merchants that deal in, well, let me see, out of character, I'll find you,
Yes, find an antiquities dealer and offer to acquire things
right.
for him.
Yeah, antiquities. Let's look here.
Who was that wombat guy? I like that name.
We passed one shop. We passed it at... didn't we pass like an art objects and antiquities shop? And plus there's that weird guy with the cart outside the table.
Oh yeah, with the crystal thing.
What's his story? What about the man with the orb outside?
Most people that you find opening vendors' tables are crooks, and they sell fake goods to try to swindle people that are from outside the city. You'll notice that most people that gather around those vendors are outsiders.
I suppose there's a swindlers guild as well.
Yes, there is. I'm sorry. I'm looking. Let's see. So other than it, I wish they would call it antiquities because that would be cool. But there are people like that. What's it called? Museum, which I'm looking. This city really does have like everything. So I'm going to take the time to just, and she would know. So just give me a moment, please. I will find it. I'll have to flip back and forth through this anyway still. Trinkets, that's not it. Illicit goods, that's not it. Let me check something really fast. Oh. I need to make sure this isn't crazy. Because it might be. And then I have a suggestion for antiquities. Where is it? Just lost it. Magic. Just had it and I lost it. Oh, here. No. Oh, maybe this one. Is that called a Oh, this should work anyway. There is one person that deals in the sort of strange things you're speaking of. And she nods toward the mace. I sincerely hope that mace, that holy relic, does not fall into the hands of these slavers or even this strange person.
I will give my life to protect it.
Yes, it troubles me that we have to use this as a ploy. But I think that he will be one of the few people in the city, other than myself and some of the others, the people in the religious orders here, that would appreciate it. His name, he goes by Velior, and he's a recluse. And I should note, not exactly what I would call human.
Well,
Has he been mutated by the other, or?
I can't say, but he's strange. Wispy thin, long hands, long in every feature, as if he's been stretched, and long ears. And almost as if he's slowly able to, as if he can fit through a door crack or something. He's odd. And moves strangely as well. It's disconcerting to even be around him. But you'll find him at the Tower of Velior. He collects strange artifacts just like that, and he is just the sort of person that would go and, sadly, sell items that he finds less valuable to the Wheelwrights Guild and to Duloth. And you'll even be close to the black market, because it's in the market district.
Out of character, we were looking for a lieutenant, or we're...
So basically, she's suggesting that if you just walk in there, it's going to look very, really suspicious, and it would be helpful to have a front. To have it look as if this is something you just regularly do all the time. Maybe wear different clothes, maybe put on your doublet that you have, which, by the way, we'll say Magnus was offered one as well.
Right.
okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. She blesses you, and in fact, you gain a +1 for the next for the remainder of the gameplay session.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Time to start a fight.
Yeah, and she
+1
says, "May the light peer into the dark corners of this place and purify all of it. May this city turn back to the light in its entirety. May all of the darkness of this place and all of those who cavort with it be found and shown and to be what they are. May it all be clear soon. And we will be ready when you call on us. How will you call on us to let us know that you've found where they're keeping the slaves?"
I think the best bet would be for us to simply return here.
What if you don't have time?
If we are allowed to.
That's okay. If I don't have time, do we have any? I don't know how else we could. Like, it's not like we can. Well, what means of communication even exist here?
Well, your horses are kept outside the city. I'll take one of my maidens, and she'll have horses ready for us. And we'll keep this force ready to ride if need be. And out of character, there's a stable area outside the gates, which is where your horses would have been stabled and kept.
Yeah, I don't have any magic that would help make a signal or everything.
So if she's out of character, she's saying if you come to the stables and need to ride somewhere to intercept these slaves, she'll have someone there.
Excellent. Write that down.
And she bids you farewell. You leave out through the tavern. And, back into
Almost
the cold
level 4.
streets.
Level 2 spells, here I come.
It's the good stuff.
Where do you go now?
Oh, did she give us directions to the tower?
The market district, she says.
What was the name of that guy? The elongated man?
Valeria?
Valier?
Velior. Velior.
Melior.
Yeah, I don't remember what the market
Elongated man.
district was. Did we come through the market district at one point?
Where do you all go?
Let's go to the market district so that we can start trying to lay the groundwork
Yeah.
to fake a sale of this magical artifact.
Okay.
Do I know where that is?
If you mapped. If you,
Yeah, I don't.
you noted it. Yeah, but on the street ahead of you, you see the plaza to your right, a bridge down the road to your left, and where's my map?
I seem to think it was back across the big bridge.
And the guy still hawking his wares outside.
We could ask somebody.
I straighten forward as often.
I'm gonna ask the bartender before we leave.
That's smart. That is the correct decision.
Okay. She says, "Oh yes, the market district. Well, if you just keep heading straight that way," and she points west. She says, let me move this back to where you all are. She says, the market district is the farthest west district. If you just keep going that way. It's also got the grand entrance into the city. Surprised you didn't see it on the way in.
All right, that spot we can find.
Yeah.
All right, where do you go?
West, young man, west.
West. All right.
Yep, across the large bridge.
Across the large bridge. Okay. Oops, I don't want to do that. So you probably make it to the bridge, which, by the way, is its own district because it is huge. This bridge is 2,000 feet across and 600 feet wide. And that's half of the bridge because either side of it is on the island. Let's see here. 207.
I just accidentally deleted the party. Can I just put us back? No, I can't.
There you go.
There. Oh, I can't create a second one. Well, okay, now problem
Oh,
solved.
how did you do that?
I just clicked and dragged it off of the listing of
Oh,
items. I can put myself there too, though obviously I am too small to fit onto this very big map.
I guess we need to change clothes, don't we?
I'll say that you
Good.
can get your doublet. And let's see here. On the bridge, 10, 9, 12.
Have I wear my armor under it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 and 12. there is a place smelling meats, and it's the 5th strange smell that you've smelled today, but it's a good smell. You smell like roasted meats, and it has a big sign with a Minotaur's head, and it says Minotaur's Meats on it. That's on the side of the bridge, and there are these other businesses. There's also a jeweler and a bookstore that says Eldon's, and it's a cozy little bookstore. And then there's a stall over here with a woman who's selling maps and books in a covered stall.
Oh,
She has a freckled face and fair skin and bushy red hair. She looks different than the other people you've seen around here. And she's like, maps and books, strange oddities and papers and books.
I'll be sure to stop there on the way back
All right.
yeah,
some other day.
I agree. We should check out those maps.
I'm interested in grabbing a little bit of that meat because I don't think Gerald has eaten anything today.
Okay.
We have been scampering around.
Yeah. Well, you got meat at the tavern, but you can
True.
still buy meat if you want it. You want to buy some meat?
Yeah, sure. How much is the meat?
That's like,
Enormous number is posted. I immediately chicken out.
There is when you go in here, the smell is even stronger. The smoking and the butchers, the stacks of meat. A really big man, and you can smell salted meats too. Sausages, jerkies, salted and dried trail rations, prime thick cut steaks. This big hulking man comes out, and he has a most unfortunate accent. He's like, "Welcome to Minotaur's Meats. Would you like some of Allstag's meat?" And then he sees you, and he's like, "Oh, a Frenchman. Do you even eat meat?"
I would like your biggest sandwich, sir.
"Oh, very well." And he takes like a half loaf of bread
Oh no.
and then puts in between it a prime thick cut of steak, and which is smoking hot, and you get this giant, so like almost a half loaf of bread that's fresh bread baked, and then a huge cut of steak in it, and he hands it to you, and he's like, 7 gold pieces.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the best steak sandwich in the Isles.
I set myself up for this one. I'm just gonna take this one on the chin. Just take the money.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go savor my gigantic sandwich.
You won't regret it. And then, you get a gigantic steak sandwich.
7 gold pieces. This sandwich better make me see God.
Do you
I
eat
see a
it?
dog.
Do you eat it?
Of course I'm eating it. I paid 7 gold pieces for it.
You, it is simply the, best. I mean, first of all, probably you could be disappointed that the steak is in 2 nice pieces of bread, because the steak itself just melts in your mouth. It's obscene to you, to the other 2 people, as this thing of meat just melts out of his mouth, just like and it's amazing. It's the best steak sandwich you've ever had. And
All
you
right,
get a bonus to any Constitution attribute check
What?
for the
This
rest
is
of
a
the
very good
session.
sandwich.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? You're right. I don't regret getting this sandwich. This is amazing.
And
This is the happiest that Gerald has been in some time.
ever since the nice wine at the Six Candles Inn, life
I'm
could,
rapidly running
That
out of
must
money.
give you 6-pack abs.
the life could be good here, and
Yeah, if I could afford it.
If you
I
could afford
cannot.
it. For those that can afford it, life is good. And you have arrived. This is worth noting. And I'm going to make some checks here. Because you have arrived at the Guild District. At this big plaza past the bridge. I'll kind of describe what you see. Outside one of the inns, two elderly men sit. Empty glasses, no longer containing wine, studying a chessboard as they play against each other. Other people are walking back and forth and doing business here. You notice that people here are better dressed than in other places. And District 142. Some of the businesses here in the Guild District. Around you in the Guild Hall Court, you see opposite over here, you see a huge guild hall. And this actually, I'm going to draw it here. This is clearly your quarry, because this whole thing is one long structure. That is the Wheelwrights Guild Hall. Many well-dressed people come and go. Also, of interest is a observatory that seems to be for studying the stars. Magnus, you see something interesting here, a sign hanging out in front of it. It says, Wizards Guild.
Oh, well, I'll step right in.
Oh, you guys want to go into... Well, you want to try to get this guy in the last 25 minutes of gameplay? And
Well, sure, but I mean, I didn't know there was a whole Wizards Guild.
yeah, there's a whole Wizards Guild here.
Well, before we leap into this, I do want to seem like we're going to need some guild backing anyway, right? Like someone who can like attest that we have something worth wanting.
Yeah, whatever
Maybe
that
we
would
can
be.
leverage the Wizards Guild into part of our shenanigan.
You could.
While I eat my gigantic sandwich.
You could do that. Yeah.
I mean, the lady said that maybe they're not taken seriously or something, but
yeah. Also, and by the way, I think this is where one of the wizards came from. Was it, what's her name? Anyways, one of the people in Zilkor's Ferry, I thought, but, this area over here, Caden, I pointed out as you came in the way in, these are all ancient temple structures that you pass by. Many of them dilapidated and falling into ruin. Some of the walls even have collapsed. And then lastly, I'll note that just that. It's an armor store for small people. That's all. What do you all do?
well, let's continue on to our stated objective first
Okay.
and see what we find out.
Okay.
Fun with the sandwich.
Yeah, I want one now. I'm like, why have I not had a steak in a long time? Like, a really good one. And can you imagine, like, seriously, like a fresh baked thing of doughy sourdough bread and just cutting it and making the slices from it?
Sir, please, I can only salivate so much.
It's terrible. Gosh. Okay. Okay, so we're coming back to the market district. This, I will roll again for counters. Looks like it's fine. Um, a loud explosion rocks nearby. People like gasp and scream, and you look back this way, and there was an explosion that went off back that way.
At the Mages Guild?
Yeah.
Well, good thing we weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes your decisions get reinforced faster than others.
There's this is a really nice part of town. Everyone here is very well dressed. There are all sorts of very fancy businesses. You would also know that further down here is the Inn of Six Candles, which is the swankiest establishment in town, in the city. And you see here, well, haha, you see a tower rising, probably as you're crossing this bridge here along the riverfront, as there are, by the way, gondolas which have broken the ice and they're traveling up and down the river here, along with small boats. And a long ways off there, a fraction of a mile away down the riverfront, you see a tower, a graceful, smooth, featureless tower. It appears to glow with a soft, silvery light, as if struck by moonlight.
Where is this tower?
Here, I'll start by panning, just to make sure that you're...
This one?
And then, right here.
Ah, that one.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, we make our way.
As you get closer to this tower, you realize that the soft silvery glow is not actually a glow, maybe, but instead the patterns of flowers and leaves inscribed in the stones in such a way that it causes the smooth stone to reflect.
Ooh.
It's so cunningly made as to be invisible and almost makes the tower just seemingly glow and sparkle, but it's actually these fine patterns.
Pretty swag.
Yeah, do you go in?
This is our target, right? To find, what's his name again? Belior the Elongated Man. Okay, I probably shouldn't call him that to his face.
Probably not.
Let's see here.
You never know. Maybe he'll enjoy the new pseudonym.
All right. So you go inside the tower, and there's a sign, and it says "Visitors only by appointment." However, through the looking glass on the door, you see a beautiful woman in a fine gown, writing with quill ink at a desk.
This sounds like an excellent opportunity to make an appointment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's
Hello.
good with talking to people?
My charisma is 12.
Mine is 10. Which is to say,
Well, mine is 7.
I guess it's Father. I guess it is Magnus, with possible support from Gerald.
All
Good
right.
afternoon.
She looks up, and she's like, I'm so sorry, but Lord Velier only meets with people by appointment. And she just doesn't even look at you, and she keeps going back to writing.
Yes, well, how does one obtain an appointment?
She puts down her quill. Lord Velier's activities and Services are quite popular, and so I understand. However, you will need to provide something of interest to him in order to gain his attention.
I'm going to withdraw the Serpentine spellbook from my backpack.
This is different than your main spellbook, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Oh man, the tomb of the tome of the Serpent Kings from the Isle of Irene.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you put that down on the table, and she's like, "Ah, I see. Would you excuse me for a moment, please?"
Of course, madam.
She goes up into the tower and walks up the stairs. Eventually, you hear a voice that's like, "Yes, please, come up." And she comes back down, sits down, and then she's like, "It seems that Lord Villiers would like to speak with you."
My thanks.
Thank you.
You walk up the tower, and you can see it spirals its way up, and there are these portals going into hallways with locked doors, just door after door. All of the doors are closed, and this happens floor after floor until you get to the observatory at the top floor. And
What
there,
tall is this tower?
it's say
Is it bigger on the inside?
60, 70 feet tall, I guess. Maybe.
Pretty tall.
Yeah. 60, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, you get to the top floor of this stone tower, and where the observatory is, and there's an orrery, and there's places to observe the stars, and there are tables that have charts covered in strange symbols, and you see a man that appears, and this is how I would describe it. It's like this. It's like, I'm going to do bad drawings. Like, if you're a man and you're like this, here's a little guy, maybe somebody else, little guy. This person looks like this. Nah, that's a little bit too tall, but almost like Slender Man, but in Slender Man, but thinner and gentler, shorter, and not creepy looking in the face. And in fact, the face is one of a very beautiful looking man with large, long, pointy ears, strange eyes, and long white hair. And he turns to you as if floating in the air. And he's like, "Let me see it." Doesn't greet you, doesn't ask for your name.
I present the book to him.
He puts it on a table, puts his hand on it. "These were once the lords of the Isles. A long time ago. They could be again. Why do you bring this to me?"
Well, we wish to offer our services as acquirers of such things. Obviously, they are useful to us, but at a certain point, you gain the knowledge from them and pass them on. Other things are less useful to us, and we pass them straight along. But we understand this city requires some support from the local structure to be able to partake in such business.
You're not from the city. What do you want
No.
from me?
We were told we needed the support of someone who was part of the guild structure to be able to work in this fashion.
A bribe, then.
Is that what this is? I merely thought of it as proof of our capabilities and usefulness.
He looks at the book, traces his hand across it, opens it slightly, and then this awful, foul speech comes out of his mouth. It sounds like a cacophony of sliding lizard, amphibian, and worms and stuff, and it makes you almost like sick and almost like hurts you when you hear it. And then he closes the book.
I take a step back without quite realizing that I've done it.
Yeah. He says, it's a very good bribe.
Well, somebody please remind me. The whole point is.
Our goal here, out of character, I assume you need a
Yes, yes.
Our goal here is to get into a position where we are in the same room as the private secretary of Dulath Armitage, whose name is Alotha. She's usually responsible for... We want that because she can get us directly into the slave auction, we believe. And we believe that we can get into the same room as her by piquing her interest as an agent of her employer to purchase something valuable from us.
Okay.
So the advantage, so the goal here is to get this guy to note to Dulath Armitage that we have additional artifacts which are available for sale, so that he will send his creature to us so that we can corrupt it.
We were wondering whether or not this item.
He looks at you.
Hold on a second. Yeah, go ahead.
And then he says, "Oh, you're trying to get her attention. That's no problem. But for this book, is that the agreement?"
Her undivided attention for a few moments.
I can get that. He waves his hand. He's like, actually, he writes a note. Hand this to my assistant. She'll take care of everything. And then he starts just looking at the book.
We thank you.
Are you giving him the book?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that book existed until the start of this scene. What is that thing?
Yeah.
This is from Magnus's very first adventure a few months ago. It was the one thing we were able to grab out of this place before we ran for our lives. Or the one thing I was able to grab anyway from a few corpses. And I got the spell copied from it already.
Nice.
It's just a matter of being able to actually learn it.
That's cool as heck.
Wait, you did learn the spell, right?
From Rapid Optic?
From somewhere else, I think.
Oh, okay.
I copied it. I can't learn it until next level.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you didn't like lose the magic from it. That would be unfortunate.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So in the time we have left, very quickly we'll come down to our roll. She has the chance to save versus magic, right?
Yeah.
All right. When you come down and give the note to her, she sighs and she says, "I'll need just a moment." And she comes out and she has like a fine fur cloak, and she's like,
"Well, okay. Here's the deal. If we're gonna do this, I want to memorize it twice.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be right this second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't know going in. We'll just say that you have it memorized twice.
Okay.
Is that the max? Is that all of your slots? 2 slots.
That's my slots. Yeah.
Okay. Guild.
If we blow it twice, I think we just need to leave town and run.
Well, there are other options.
Just write it off. It's a big town.
Let's see. 142. Okay.
It's creepy that he knew that.
All right. So, she walks with you silently, not speaking, until you make it to the guilds district, which you were already at before, and to the bustling large Wheelwright's Guild hall. And the main floor of the building has meeting halls, a library itself, chambers housing membership rosters, official documents, other meetings of various merchant lairds and officials and visitors and traders. To be the Wheelwright's Guild, they seem to be doing a lot more than just offloading equipment from the docks and transporting it. And you see these burly drovers, these thugs that are all over this place. There are dozens of them. And you see a meeting going on, and then a woman looking at various papers. This person approaches them, hands them a paper, and she looks at it, and she says, "Hello, Zalotha. It's been some time." And Zalotha, who is a rather rough-looking woman herself, and larger than most women with dark skin. She says, "Yes, well, your master doesn't seem too interested in making a profit. I'm surprised to see you." And she says, "Yes, well, I'm only here to introduce you to a group of people that deal in goods and artifacts, and I thought it might interest you." And she motions you toward Zalotha.
So, out of character, what I'm going to try and do is distract her so that, what's his face? So that Magnus can do the thing.
And just
Okay.
give her a bunch of, give her the business, the charm. Lay it on thick.
Lady Zalotha, I am Gerald Faria of Francia. I have, on recent occasion, had cause to dive into the ruins of Rapanathuk, wherein we have encountered many prodigies of a prior age. And among them, we have a certain device which I believe will be of great interest to you and to your employer.
Well, let's see it. What is it?
My good sir, if you would come and present to us the scepter of Saint Myr. I'm reaching back towards Caden.
Are you talking about the mace of Saint? I forget what they.
Sure,
Yes, whatever it's actually called. My
That's fine,
my
though.
terrible
Yeah, it's
old
great.
man brain. It's
No,
all of the
it's
thoughts
great.
are falling out.
Yeah.
Let me try to
I thought it
cast my
was actually.
spells.
Yeah. You have her attention, and so yeah, Magnus, you can try it. I guess I just need to see if I save, right? Saving throw.
Yeah, I mean,
Here's the first one. She fails.
Yes.
All right. What does
I
that look
smile.
like? That all of a sudden yeah.
well, just over his shoulder, I will have been waving my staff just a little bit back and forth in a semi, rhythmic manner, or a small rhythmic manner. And then I'll just suddenly look at her and grab her eyes and smile big and hold my hand out and say, what was her name? Alatha?
Zalotha, and she was reaching for that mace and instead takes your hand. Yeah.
Zalotha, it's been so long, too long.
I can't quite place your name.
Well, it's Magnus. It's Magnus. You remember?
Ah, that's
Yes.
right. Magnus, it's so good to see you. Have you found anything interesting lately?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, of course, most of my, you know how it is, walking through the streets, most of my possessions are at the inn, where they're safe. But I've heard so much of, it's been so long since I've been here, but I've heard so much of the state of the black market these days. Just,
Magnus, please.
yes.
Don't
No, I lower my voice, of course, but perhaps we could make a make a date. Perhaps we meet, shall we say tomorrow, or whenever is convenient for you, to discuss interesting purchasing opportunities that I've heard of.
I would love that. Tomorrow, then.
Wonderful.
Where?
Oh, I think was it any? I'm just going to suggest our our home inn, maybe. You know.
She makes a suggestion. She says, "Why don't we meet right at the plaza, just to take it all in, and then we'll go straight there to
Beautiful.
Excellent. I'm
with my friends, of course, and my new friend Rex. Rex, say hello to.
She bends down, pets him. Rex like growls, like, oh. And she's like, "Oh,
Oh,
Rex
he's a
is-
good boy. He's a good boy. We'll
He's
get
still
in there.
He's still growing accustomed to a life of peace.
She
Yes.
she introduces herself to the rest of you and acts very cordial, and even invites you around to see some of the things that are happening here, which I won't reveal now. But if we don't have to, remind me later, make a note of it, that she basically reveals some of the secrets of what's going on here as well. And you all make it back without her to back to the Broken Camel Inn, successfully having found a way into the Slavers Guild.
I'm
and-
glad that worked.
Me
Same.
too. Me
Yeah,
too.
and that's where we'll end the session for the night.